Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts.
Checking in on USMJ, we got a whole bunch of tickers to look at: GWPH, IIPR, TRUL, MedMen, IAN, CWEB, ACRG, NBEV, CVSI, CURA, OHGTII, MRMD, GGB. We're going to look on the weekly time frame and zoom into the daily charts from there. Most of these charts have not consolidated on the weekly time frame yet. Some of them have already started that consolidation. So the distinct differences between individual names will be who has yet to consolidate on the weekly and who has already started that consolidation. And it's the same for the Canadian names as well. We've already seen some names start pulling back while others have not yet. So GWPH is one of those names that has seen a very significant V-shaped recovery and has not started pulling back yet. The most significant short-term resistance is 152.28. That's a weekly resistance level, and we could form a lower high compared to that level. Very similar bounce compared to the S&P 500. When we do begin consolidating, we're going to look for a higher low to form on the weekly time frame due to the size of the bounce at this point. On the daily time frame, we're looking for a higher low to form. The last little higher low was a bull flag with 119.28 as support. Anything above 119.28 will maintain the uptrend. There's a support level at 133 right now. That's not a key level for the bulls to maintain. This could still be another little bull flag, but we don't have to hold 133 for the daily chart to still remain bullish. Resistance is 143 before we get up to that resistance level in the 152s. So at this point, if you're already in a position, bulls are extremely comfortable and very happy. But if you are not in a position at this point, you probably don't want to be initiating a position until we see some weekly consolidation. This is one of the major USMJ names in terms of market cap, and IIPR is another one of the major names, just in the terms of it being listed on the NYSE as the first IPO in the marijuana sector and the fact that it's at all-time highs. So here's the weekly chart. It started as a bunk IPO. Nobody was interested. I remember when they were coming out with the IPO, they kept having to offer less and less shares at lower prices because nobody was interested. We traded sideways and then we exploded, and it's been no looking back since. Higher lows and higher highs, 200% up from the IPO price, and we are at the all-time high here at the end of the week. So if the bulls can break 60 psychological, we'll be looking for continuation this coming week. But again, we're also extended here. Last higher low on the daily time frame was 51.60. Anything above 51.60 keeps the daily uptrend intact. The daily RSI is getting to a point where previously we've been seeing pullbacks. We've gone all the way from mid-30s up to the mid-70s here. So again, just another name where if you're bullish and already in a position, you're extremely comfortable. There's nothing to worry about. But if you're looking for a bullish position, you want to wait for consolidation because risk to reward does not favor entries at these levels. TRUL weekly inside bar forming, so consolidation has started here. Looking on the daily time frame, we can see a couple lower wicks. So we're looking for the bulls to form a daily higher low. We have a higher low at 1087, another one at 1120, and here we are trying to form another one with a little double bottom the last 2 days at 1215 and 1217. So I zoom into the hourly and say, has the hourly trend changed? And we can pretty much say we had a double bottom and then we broke the lower high in the end of Friday's trading by getting over 1286. So if the bulls can hold 1215 on Monday and Tuesday of this coming week to start it off and see a bull break of $13 and continuation, we'll be looking at 1339 and 1350. Our daily higher low will be established, and due to the size of the pullback, we're going to look for a daily lower high to form on this bounce. Talked about the 50% retracement level in the Canadian MJ video, or a 50% bounce from this consolidation, which, let's see, the pullback 1483 down to 1217. We're looking at about a $2.60 pullback roughly. So if we were to get to 1350 or so, that would be the midway point. So watching for a lower high to form, perhaps in the mid to upper $13 range, and a tightening range on the daily chart as we head into next week. That's if we can get some follow through on Monday and break $13 for bounce continuation. Good sign for the volume for the bulls, hoping that that's a little bit of a climax, signaling that the momentum has shifted. MedMen on the weekly time frame also has already started consolidation, really just sideways trading at this point, where we have our low high of the bounce, higher low, pretty much a double top. The bulls want a convincing break of 486 to be in the clear on the weekly time frame, because you can see after 486 resistance, there's not a whole lot in this area. And if we zoom into the daily chart for even more details, after 486, we're looking at 528 and then even less resistance after 528. So a significant bull break, shifting the hourly momentum on Thursday. Friday could not have been a better follow-through day. Increasing bull volume, follow through, breaking further resistance levels, and now we're looking up at 486 as a key level this coming week. The hourly support to be watching is down at 425. Anything above 425 keeps the hourly uptrend intact. If we lose the hourly uptrend, we zoom out to the daily and we will look for a daily equilibrium. So if we lose the hourly uptrend without breaking 486, we're then going to look for a pullback and a continued tightening daily range with 486 as key resistance. Ideal scenario for the bulls is to keep the hourly uptrend and break 486 to see continuation after that let's try that again. 2.5 to 3 weeks of sideways consolidation. IAN yet to really consolidate on the weekly time frame as well. We sideways consolidated on the daily time frame here. Upper wicks of profit taking in the upper $6 range. And what we had on Friday was really just one 5-minute big spike of a huge volume surge. All market buys to push the price up that high. You can see it came all the way right back down. But bulls are making a little bit of momentum, a little bit of headway, breaking some of these resistance levels. We're looking up at 670. There's also resistance at 664 and 665, a double top. So you can see here 662, 664, 665, 670. So that's a resistance range that the bulls want to clearly get over. Our new daily higher low of support is 608. As long as the bulls hold that level, they keep the daily momentum in their favor. And if we can get over these 660s and 670 levels more convincingly, we're looking good into the $7 range with, again, a lack of resistance. Trying to work on a longer term trend change on the weekly chart. We did break the lower highs. So we had the low, high of the bounce, higher low, and now we have this higher high by getting over 648. So that is a shift in momentum on the weekly time frame. We have the deal going through with MPX shortly. So not going to be charting MPX because they're pretty much tied at the hip right now with the premium or the discount on MPX being eroded. So they're trading hand in hand until that deal is official, and we only have one ticker at that point. CWEB got the all-time high. Obviously ideal for the bulls to be in blue sky breakout. Didn't get a whole lot of follow through the first couple times. We broke just above it. And actually, I take that back. We were just below it. And Friday is the first day we actually did get the official all-time high over 1870. And it was a convincing move over that level. We got all the way up to 1950. So again, very significant follow through. This is a very illiquid name, so it does make significant moves. And on the daily time frame, the last higher low I'm looking at is 1659 and 1594. So anything above those levels will keep the daily uptrend intact, but very significant for the bulls just being in full control and breaking that all-time high. A couple of short-term supports, 1884 and 1887 to be watching. Bulls would love to hold those levels Monday first thing and break 1950. But if we break this support first thing on Monday, we'll just look for healthy daily consolidation as the bulls are still in control. So IIPR and CWEB both at all-time highs. ACRG, daily, or I should say a weekly inside bar showing this tightening range. The daily chart is pretty healthy consolidation overall. A little bit more prolonged than the bulls would like to see. We have our high, low of the pullback. Lower high was 2360, and the bulls just held support 2057. And that's a good sign that the bulls were able to hold that level on Friday. Now they're going to try and make their way back up to 2360 resistance. And if we can't break that level, we'll have a continued tightening range to be keeping our eyes on. And this is healthy weekly consolidation. We have the all-time high, all-time low, lower high, and the bulls are hoping for brief consolidation before trying to make their way back to that all-time high. So keep an eye on this daily chart. At this point, it's a bottom fishing play with your stop under 2050. Or you can patiently wait for a break, and if we get the bull break with some clear bull volume associated with it, that'll be a time to jump in as well. But we're still watching key resistance. Anything under 2360 is just a lower high. Keep this one on watch into next week. NBEV, weekly time frame, very healthy higher low with a lower wick, and now we need to see follow through to make it officially a higher low. Right now, 471 is the last higher low. If we see a solid green week and a break of 675, our new higher low will be 595. So on the daily chart, significant pullback. Again, we had the hourly shift in momentum. The bounce is following through a little bit every day, higher lows and higher highs each day, but we're still looking for a lower high compared to 762. Again, it's because of the size of the range of this pullback that continuation is unlikely. The more likely scenario is a lower high and a tightening range into February. So bulls are stair-stepping along. They're keeping the hourly uptrend in their favor. If we lose the hourly uptrend, we zoom out and say, all right, our daily lower high is likely established, and then we look for that tightening range into February. CVSI is still in my swing position here from the weekly equilibrium bull break. The next major weekly resistance level is 560 to be watching, and anything above 405 keeps the weekly uptrend intact. The daily time frame is a bearish reversal candlestick, and that's not surprising. We just ran from 405 up to 535, well over 25% in just 5 days. So it looks like we need to consolidate and form a daily higher low compared to 405, and the hourly time frame, you can see it shifting a little bit. We're starting to lose the hourly higher lows, so we may need to pull back into the upper $4 range to establish a daily higher low and then try and see continuation from there. But good sign for the bulls, the fact that we got that volume on Thursday, and it was a fairly low volume day on Friday, not showing a ton of profit taking. So we'll make sure that that consolidation is healthy and ensure that we don't see any kind of big bear volume on Monday. CURA, weekly time frame here, also leveled out a little bit. We bounced. Now we're looking to form a little bull flag and then try and continue. And key resistance here is going to be $9 on the daily time frame. So we had support down at 738 as a daily support level. And this is one where we broke it by 8 pennies, but then the bulls held on. And there haven't been many fake outs on these charts in the MJ sector. It's pretty much been consistent with uptrends remaining intact on the daily time frame. This is one example where that was not the case, where this would be potentially a fake out where we lost the daily uptrend but didn't see any bearish follow through after that. 823 was resistance that broke on Friday. Didn't get much follow through over that level. Bulls want to see a close over 823 to have our sights set on $9. And our new key support is 730 in the short term for the bulls to maintain their strength on this daily time frame. OH, significant weekly bounce. We've gone from $5 to $9, an 80% bounce in 5 weeks. So again, risk to reward does not favor entries at this point. We're likely to form a lower high compared to the all-time high of $11 and consolidate and form a weekly higher low and keep the bulls pretty confident. But again, it's just all about risk to reward. It's a completely different scenario if you are in a trade already as a bull or if you're looking for an entry. If you're looking for an entry, you're being patient and waiting. And if you're in a trade, certainly no reason to sell at this point. The daily time frame just saw continuation, so a higher low was established at 739, followed through on Thursday and Friday, big uptick on volume Friday with the break of 848 to see continuation. 885 broke as well, so now we're looking up at 916, the high of Friday, and then a lack of resistance after 916. This is a name, again, and for all the names that I'm talking about, you always want to check the volume, the dollar volume, because some days here, volume's pretty low where we have, $800,000 traded in the entire day. And a lot of these names, I'm charting them on the CSE, even though they are U.S. stocks. And the reason for that is that's where the dollar volume is. There's more dollar volume on the CSE than there is on the OTC, the U.S. side of things, for a lot of these individual names. So just always be checking dollar volume. You want to ensure that there's millions of dollars being traded, ideally, at least over $1 million. That's my threshold where I say, all right, if there's over $1 million traded daily, I can be interested in looking to play this name. If it's less than $1 million, it's usually not liquid enough for me to be comfortable. OH hourly support, trying to hold 891 first thing Monday for the bulls to remain in full control. That's a potential hourly bull flag. GTII, weekly consolidation has started. So to change this trend, we need a weekly higher low and then continuation over 1824 resistance, where we have topped out currently. We have shifted and started consolidation on the daily time frame very clearly. We pulled back almost, at this point, about 15-20% from that recent high. So consolidation is clearly underway, and we're going to have to change the trend on the daily time frame in order for our weekly higher low to be set. Key resistance on the daily is 1632. Anything under that is just a lower high. Support right now is 1473, and if that were to break, we're going to be looking down at 1430 and then a gap at 1412. So clear daily consolidation underway. We need to shift the daily momentum to give ourselves a weekly higher low and one step ahead of consolidation here. Not many names have seen this much consolidation from the top of their move at this point. A lot of names are still following through with their moves, so important to note. And what's going to be interesting for me to be watching is when the S&P 500 does consolidate on the weekly time frame, which in my opinion is going to mark consolidation on the weekly time frames for a lot of the Canadian MJ names. Are the names like GTII that have already started their weekly consolidation, is it going to force them to pull back even further and their moves back are going to be more magnified? Or is it going to be a scenario where the amount of consolidation that they've already seen allows them to weather, the additional consolidation a little bit better? So that's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on. But ideal scenario is that you're obviously in a name that is not consolidating yet as a bull and waiting for the S&P 500 to potentially indicate that consolidation coming. MRMD, weekly chart on fire here as well. Break of 510. Great sign for the bulls this week. Now we're just looking at 580 all-time high. So this is another one to be watching with all-time highs in sight. Daily time frame also very extended. Potentially a volume climax. This is an indecision candlestick at the top of an uptrend. Marked by high volume is the potential of the volume signaling the temporary top. And you can see the hourly chart with a big pullback. We lost the hourly uptrend, which is generally an indication that daily consolidation is coming. Support is 445. And next support after that is 425. Anything on the daily time frame above 353 is going to keep higher lows intact. So bulls are comfortable with the amount of space to work with, but this just shows the volatility that some of these names have, where the range of this candlestick on the day Friday, the entire range was 20%. So obviously you're not going to be wanting to play with large capital if there's a chance that we can pull back 10% from, a trade that you enter. So you want to use smaller capital when there's more volatility, so you're not exposing yourself to any kind of big losses. I wouldn't be surprised to see a daily inside bar on Monday with how big that range is to trade within. GGB in the news in terms of their deal to APHA, which probably isn't going anywhere. Inside bar on the weekly, also on the verge of all-time highs here, just under it. Healthy consolidation, pretty similar to ACRG's daily consolidation with the high, low the pullback of 539, lower high at 5, or make that 609, and now we're heading back down. Bulls have to hold 539 support to keep control. If we break 539, we're going to lose the daily uptrend. So potential bottom fishing play this coming week. Maybe entering at 545, put your stop a bit below 539. If that was a play for ACRG, that would have been an ideal bottom fishing. Enter at 2085, put your stop below 2050, and at this point you're up 5% pretty comfortably. So it's a potential bottom fishing play to be watching with that support. And volume's a little bit sparse here in the sense that it's not consistent. One day we had maybe 1.25 million shares traded, with the day before it we had maybe 4 million shares traded. So there are some significant differences in these volumes from day to day, but keep an eye on this tightening pattern and we'll see if the bulls can hold that 539 support. So plays, you want to group them however you want, but we could group them by market cap with GWPH up at the front, or we could group them with proximity to all-time highs. GGB close to the all-time high, IIPR and CWEB up at those all-time highs, and ACRG is another name fairly close to that all-time high with the percentage moves that we can see this name make in the previous past. So certainly still interesting out there, and there's a lot of opportunity. Some names consolidating on the weekly, some names extremely strong still. Again, S&P 500, it's all about the tech sector this coming week and earnings reports. And we have so many names correlated in these major markets, including oil. Everybody's looking the same on the daily time frame. So we're going to get a lot of information this week as to whether or not this bounce is going to continue and the MJ market is going to stay healthy for the next week, or whether the market is going to start consolidating in the instance of bearish reactions to the tech sector, which in my opinion would mean further consolidation in the MJ sector is coming as well. So if you're keeping an eye on everything, you want to be watching how Amazon and Apple and how these earnings are going to go, and we'll see how the S&P 500 reacts. I hope you have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday.